Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining here at Unapologetic Progressive. Once again, I am back with another video. This time we're going to talk about the No Kings protests that took place over the weekend. Now, first off, let me make it very clear, no protesters were arrested from within almost 7 million people. None of the protesters were arrested. There were some arrests from people who attacked the protesters in different cities. But all in all, throughout these massive protests with over 7 million people participating, none of the protesters were arrested. In fact, the protesters came for their allotted amount of time. When the protest was over, they went home, like protests do, especially peaceful ones. It was organized by over 200 different progressive and liberal groups, including the ACLU, MoveOn.org, and others. And I think it was a really good protest. I think it did what it was meant to do, which is bring you know, awareness to what we see going on in this country, the march towards authoritarianism and fascism. And I don't think a lot of even Republicans are okay with that. I saw interviews of people talking to people who are self-described Republicans, and they didn't like what they're seeing. Many of them saying they didn't vote for this, even though they did. All they do see though is their grocery prices going up, prices for other products going up, things like beef and chicken and pork just going skyrocketing since Trump took office. And then they hear that their health care rates are going to go up because the Republican Party refuses to put the subsidies back in place for the ACA, where people could see their premiums go up by as much as $4,000 a month. Insane. Then they found out just before this protest that Donald Trump was sending $40 billion to Argentina to bail out their failing government because he's one of those, autocratic top rulers down there too. And Donald Trump likes a strong man, so he wants to bail the guy out. Meanwhile, the reason that with them sending that $40 billion to Argentina, it's killing our farmers here at home. Like literally, they are going to be bankrupt and starving if we don't get these tariffs and stuff out, taken care of. But the fact is, they continue. And even if these tariffs go away, China's already found a new buyer or new sellers for soybeans. I saw a video yesterday from a national news broadcast showing a man who grows alfalfa hay, I think they referred to it as. And one of his biggest buyers was China. Now that buyer's gone. So the seller is sitting there basically, stuck with all this product and no way to sell it. He said if it's not taken care of soon, he's probably gonna go bankrupt. Thing is, he supported Donald Trump and he still does. Now here's the thing: if you supported Donald Trump and you realize you made a mistake, I'm all for it. You own it up to your mistake and moving forward. But if you know that Donald Trump is destroying your life as well as millions of other people's lives across this country, and you're still going to hold on to that support for Donald Trump, then you're delusional. You're completely deluded. You've completely lost the plot. People see what he's doing. They see him, authorizing ICE and Border Patrol to rappel down out of helicopters and down buildings, crashing through windows like some action movie. Dragging children out, while they slept, putting them in zip ties, just because you thought their parents may be here illegally. You ended up only arresting like 3 people that day. but you took almost 100 I think it's somewhere around 50 to 100 people into custody just for being in the apartment complex. We have people being disappeared off the streets just because they're undocumented, right? We have people being picked up off the streets and accused of being undocumented, even though they're not. I saw a video the other day of a man who was hauled off by ICE while his wife, who had complications to childbirth, remained in their apartment with no care. The man screaming that his wife could die, because of the complications she was having, and she needed him there. And they picked him up for no reason, because you can hear the ICE agents talking like, "Oh yeah, we picked him up. We don't know who he is." You don't know who he is. Maybe check an ID, fucker. But the fact is, this is America. And we're supposed to be free to walk around our country. Even if even if your skin is brown, you should be free to exist. Now, I completely agree that if you're here illegally, right, you cross that imaginary line and you're committing crimes, yeah. I completely agree that those people should be deported. If you're committing violent crimes, go ahead and get out after due process has been given. I want proof these people have committed a crime. I want them convicted of a crime before they're deported. I don't believe a misdemeanor, as it is, crossing that imaginary line without undocumented or illegally. I don't think that should equate being deported. Right? If they're not committing crimes, I don't care that they're here. I don't. If they're committing crimes, get rid of them, but don't do it the way you're doing it. But that's what this protest was about. It's about the things that we see going on in this country right now. It has to do with protecting the republic, right? These protests were not about hating America. If so, you wouldn't have all these American flags sitting there in this picture. This protest was all about defending democracy and the republic. We're supposed to be one nation, indivisible. But right now we are super divided. Because there are people out there right now telling people that this was a terrible protest. That the idea of protesting the idea of having a king or someone who thinks they're a king running this country is somehow anti-American. Shows that. But I think more Americans understand that we're in a very grave spot right now. Because I want to be very clear with you. The things that happened in pre-World War II Germany and during World War II in Germany, and what took place in pre-World War II Italy and during the war in Italy, did not just all of a sudden happen. Hitler didn't all of a sudden start putting Jewish people in camps and gassing them. That came later. Okay? In Italy, Mussolini didn't rise to power and then immediately start, you know, cracking down on every single political party. That took time. But it was a slow erosion of the institutions of democracy and of the republic that led those countries down the path that they went to. And remember, for Germany, that was total destruction of Germany. And Italy wasn't much better. So if you don't think that this is a worthwhile protest, that you don't think people should be protesting the idea of having a king, while a president posts videos of himself flying fighter jets while wearing a crown, then maybe you've lost the plot. Maybe you're completely delusional. Because honestly, I thought this was something most Americans would want to partake in. And not necessarily because you're mad at the government, even, but seeing what's going on, I can see why people were upset. And if you don't see it, then I don't think I can help you. But if you want a king, there are places you can go. Or, autocratic and authoritarian leaders. You can go to North Korea. You can go to Iran. You can go to Saudi Arabia. Do it. You move on to Russia even. But we don't want kings here. Our founding fathers founded this nation without a king on purpose. And I don't care why you think that we need an authoritarian leader. I don't care why you think it's okay for one man to think he's above the law and to be treated as if he is above the law. We're supposed to have checks and balances in place as per the Constitution to keep each branch in order and from gaining more power than the other, so we can maintain a government of, for, and by the people. And if you believe that, if you believe in our Constitution, if you believe in our Republic, please join me for more videos. Hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell, and I'll see you down the road.